this is Al. It's back to the TCG right now. We are going to go over Phantasmal Flames. Next set. This is actually coming pretty quickly. Pre-releases begin Friday going into Saturday. So if you have local midnight releases, starting Friday. In this video, we're going to look at how you might win your pre-release. Now, quick spiel for those who don't quite know what a pre-release is. Hi, buddy, we're explaining. Yeah, so basically, it's gonna be, you go to a pre-release and then you buy a build and battle kit. It's got a 40 card constructed deck and 4 packs. You open those packs and your constructed deck, and then you have to build a 40 card deck to then play with. You have 4 prize cards we're playing with as well, so this is a limited sealed tournament. And our pre-release promos this time are gonna be Prerelease, Zacian, Toxtricity, and Flygon. It's a sealed, fun event. It's definitely casual friendly, super casual, super, like, if you want to learn the game, go to those. It's gonna be a lot of fun. They're very chill. Some are kind of more competitive, but for the most part, they're chill. It's just a great time. Okay, let's go ahead and start with these promos. So, I don't know the constructed decks just yet, what they're gonna put in with these promos, but it's gonna be probably sharing some of their type, and then maybe they might throw in some more stuff, but let's start with Prerelease. It's got Infernal Slash, 220 damage, which is a lot in pre-release, but you have to discard 4 basic fire energy cards from your hand, and if you can't do it, it does nothing. So this relies on having a hand size and having the specific amount of energy for it. In pre-release context, you're probably going to have a lot of energy anyway. They give you plenty. They give you a lot. And with this deck, you're going to have that, and I'm sure it's going to be easier to find it. But don't worry, there's also some strong support with it, with this supporter card for fire Pokemon. We have an insane support for fire. Fire decks are eating well with Fire Breather. So Fire Breather says search your deck for up to 7 basic fire energy cards and put them into your hand, then shuffle the deck. This is going to be great for our pre-release deck. I assume they're going to give us the Fire Breathers with the Prerelease. I assume they must. But yeah, that is going to be a way to reliably get energy, but still, even if you don't have Fire Breather or something, or can't find it, you can definitely maybe hope that you'll draw into it and stuff, and that is just the one Pokemon, but Prerelease is looking interesting. If we look at other fire types, like I said, this set isn't the biggest one, but the Charcadet actually has a way to also help with getting energy into the hand, because it can use Gather Power to search for up to 2 basic energy cards and put them into your hand, then shuffle your deck. There's not always a lot of hand disruption in these events, in the trainer card selection and stuff, so building that hand up is probably going to be helpful, and finding fire breathers. And you're going to have a lot of energy, and you can use Heat Burner. You have to discard 1 basic fire energy from your hand in order to play it, and you get to choose a tool, special energy, or stadium card, and discard it. What's a relevant tool in this set? It's going to be Sacred Charm. The Pokemon this card's attached to takes 30 less damage from attacks from your opponent's Pokemon that has any abilities. So keep that in mind as a tool, but Heat Burner can maybe get rid of it. And then Battle Coliseum. Prevent all damage counters from being placed on bench Pokemon, yours and your opponent's, by the effects of the attacks or abilities used by the opponent's Pokemon. This is actually going to be interesting for the Dark deck. So, the new Toxtricity. The Dark deck, honestly, I think is the one that I think might be the weakest close to Flygon, just because it doesn't have super synergy with the ones in this set. Let me just go over. So this has Sinister Surge. Once during your turn, you may use this ability. You search your deck for a basic Dark energy card and attach it to one of your bench Dark Pokemon. Then shuffle your deck. If you attached energy to a Pokemon in this way, you put 2 damage counters on that Pokemon. So the Dark Pokemon are focusing on putting damage down with this guy, potentially. Now, the one thing that synergizes great with this is going to be the Mega Sharpedo, but not everyone is going to be able to pull Mega Sharpedo. But if you do, that is something for it. The only other Pokemon I think from the set that could maybe make use of this could be Weavile. It has 2 Dark Energy, Claws of Redemption. If this Pokemon has 50 HP or less, it does 170 more damage. So for a total of 190 HP, which is actually going to be knocking out a lot of cards in this little set. Alright, yeah. But you do have to do Toxtricity's ability twice to Weavile. Since it has 90 HP, if you put 2 damage counters on it, you'll go to 70, and then you have to maybe just put 2 more on. Now, when you are placing damage counters on things like this Weavile with 90 HP, very likely chance your Pokemon's going to get KO'd, and so I think the Dark deck might lean towards this Crocodile as another attacker, with Revenge Fang doing 60 plus. If one of your Pokemon was knocked out by damage from an attack last turn, this attack does 160 more damage. So that is going to be also a heavy hitter in Crocodile, I imagine. This is going to be a Stage 2 Pokemon, but yeah, that's something that stands out. We do have Dark support as a trainer card with Grimsley. We have Grimsley's move here. Look at the top 7 cards of your deck, put a Dark Pokemon you find there onto your bench, shuffle the other cards, and put them at the bottom of the deck. And also, interesting, can't use this card during your first turn. So that's something. But yeah, it looks like you can just search out your Darks. That's going to be pretty cool. Alright, I mentioned the Dark one being maybe one of the weaker ones. I think Flygon is also a weaker one. This has the Sandy Flapping ability. Once during your... Also, look at this paragraph. Oh my goodness. Once during your turn, when you play this Pokemon from your hand to evolve one of your Pokemon, you can use the ability, and you use the ability. You may also use it when it's in the active spot and knocked out by damage from an attack from your opponent's Pokemon. You discard the top 2 cards of your opponent's deck. So, sorry, it's such a mouthful of these conditions, but you get to mill a little bit. And in pre-release context, our decks are smaller. Like, we only have 40 cards in the deck, and early turns kind of flow by as everybody tries to still set up very manually and stuff, and like, games can kind of go on. So maybe there is some allure to the mill aspect. Now, if you're going to be milling cards and going the mill route, you're going to want cards maybe like Gliscor with like Poison Circle doing 50, but your opponent's active is now poisoned, and during the next turn they can't retreat. So that is going to be poison damage ticks plus no retreating, and no retreating means more mill, potentially. Now, the one thing with Flygon, though, is that this ability isn't just once per turn. It's going to be specific to when you evolve this Pokemon. When you play this Pokemon from your hand to evolve one of your Pokemon, you may use the ability, and if they're in the active and knocked out, you can mill. But yeah, so keep it in mind. Yeah, I think that is going to be... I like the art. I think I do want this one just for the art. Set is small. We have Paldean Tauros. Could he be potential? He has Raging Charge. This is a basic. It does 40 damage for each of your Pokemon with Tauros in their name in play that has any damage counters on them. Okay, so we have to have damage counters on them, which does not synergize that well with the Flygon. Ay, ay, ay. Lastly, we have a new Psychic Pokemon. It's Zacian. Zacian's going to be our last promo with Limit Break doing 50 plus. If your opponent has 3 or fewer prize cards remaining, this attack does 90 more damage. I think this is a pretty strong one for pre-release because your opponent is probably just going to have, 3 prizes very quickly. Because, we only have 4 prize cards we're working with here. So all it takes is just an early knockout on a Pokemon for this to be happening, to be online. And Limit Break doing 140 damage is actually going to hit some clean numbers pretty easily. Him doing 140 is relevant because we have Pokemon like the Cerulege that is having 140 HP on it. We also have the Toxtricity having 140 on it. We also see some others within that range, like the Tauros, the Gliscor also has 120 HP, so lower HP and stuff. The other pre-release Pokemon deck that their main Pokemon doesn't have 140, it's Flygon with 150, but that's only 1 extra. So Zacian has that going for it, I would say, and that's pretty nice. And we do have a new tool item coming for our Psychic Pokemon to take advantage of. I believe we should be getting Wonder Patch as well. This is going to allow you to attach a basic Psychic Energy from your discard pile to one of your bench Psychic Pokemon. So that's going to be easy for Zacian to get to. That's just using Wonder Patch if you have the energy in your discard, and then an attachment for turn. It's very fast, very easy on this basic Pokemon. So I think Zacian has a good chance here. I also think Cerulege is really good with that Fire Breather if we have that and stuff. So that's going to be something to look out for. Also keep in mind that we have a weakness here with Toxtricity, weakness to fighting types, so that matchup might be a little tough against the Flygon if you're fighting a fighting package. That's the general overview of the promos. Let's go ahead and look at some of the other cards in the set for when you open your packs, and you might want to slot some of them in. Dawn is in the set. It's a cool new trainer card coming, supporter card, and I assume they're going to give us Dawn in these pre-release decks, but let's go over it again. Search your deck for a basic Pokemon, a stage 1 evolution, and a stage 2, reveal them, put them in your hand, shuffle your deck. You just get to grab everything, so that's going to be really handy. I'm really curious about Battle Coliseum's interaction with the Toxtricity thing going on, because the Coliseum says you prevent all damage from being placed on bench Pokemon, which is both yours and your opponent's, by the effects of attacks or abilities used by the opponent's Pokemon. So would this shut down, I guess, Toxtricity then? Because it is Toxtricity doing damage counters onto your own Pokemon, but that's still placing damage counters by an ability, you know? So that is something to keep in mind as well if you want to fix that matchup. So that is something. Vertigo Valley, confuse Pokemon, both yours and your opponent's. Don't recover from confusion when they evolve and de-evolve. There's actually quite a little bunch of Pokemon in this set that revolves around confusion mechanics, and in pre-release, I think that could be annoying. You know, these games are kind of basic and slow sometimes, so the confusion could slow it even more, and maybe get you some time. We do also have Jumbo Ice Cream coming. I want this card so bad on like a full art card or something. Yeah, that's gonna be fun. But I love this art. You just heal 80 that has, from your active, that has 3 or more energy attached. And I think, well, you'd really have to work on that with these, the pre-release promos we got, but don't worry, I'm sure you can still find a way to get that, but it is kind of niche. I do also wonder about Schmeargle here. So he's got Energy Catch. You flip 3 coins for each heads, attach a basic energy card from your discard to your bench Pokemon in any way you like. This is coin flipping, this is relying on energy being in the discard, blah, blah, blah. But it's in pre-release context, again, maybe a sneaky thing that could actually be pulled off. Because we're not working with the meta here, we're looking at the pre-release meta. Okay, what about the combination of Vileplume with the ice cream? Vileplume having Lively Flower for 60 plus. If this Pokemon was healed during this turn, this attack does 120 more damage. Listen, that's kind of funny. Maybe we can pair it with the ice cream. Maybe that could be something very fun. But unfortunately, you do have to like just kind of manually go up. Of course, everyone is excited, I'm sure, for the Charizard, the Mega Charizard XEX coming out in the set, and the new fire support for that. This Moltres is actually, I've been seeing it in some deck lists already, just in the actual meta, so in Japan. But this has Fighting Wings, 20 plus. If your opponent's active is an EX, this does 90 more damage. So that could be something to slot in, but the only EX Pokemon you'll be really facing is going to be like Oricorio EX, and then the Mega EX, I believe, yeah, that would be it. And then we also have Rotom EX. Both the Rotom and the Oricorio have 190 HP, so they are a little bit squishier than some other ones. So keep that in mind too. I sound like a broken record, but yeah, it's a kind of a small contained set. And like I said, the only big, like, heavy hitter Mega is going to be our Mega Charizard X. It is our Charizard set, point blank, you know? So those are usually kind of small, I think. So this is going to be an interesting thing. Like I said, this whole thing is pretty casual and it's just a lot of fun. So you should definitely go and participate and just have fun. And you get to play with the new cards a little early, and everyone is new with them, so you don't have to feel like super nervous and stuff. Try not to. But I'm sure for you veterans, like, you know, it's just going to be another day. It's going to be another awesome, fun set to try and pull the big, good stuff with, you know? I think that's that. Definitely let me know what you think as well. If there's anything I missed, sometimes I need that collaboration, you know? And especially if I think of something, I'll also put it in the comments or something. But yeah, I think it's going to be exciting to see the pre-release stuff rolling out. Who will you want to pull? I think I do want to pull that Flygon, not for competitiveness, but just for the artwork of Flygon. I do like these pre-release promos. It is nice. But yeah, and I hope to get Lopunny from this set. You know, I really like Mega Lopunny. I can't wait. I think she's going to be like good support, but we're going to have to see. Anyway, thank you so much for watching. If you watched till the end, I really, really appreciate it. Oh man, I hope you're having a wonderful day, wonderful week, all that stuff. So, thank you again, and I hope to see you next time. Bye-bye!